welcome to yet another episode. If you are coming across my channel for the first time, my name is Mary, and if you are a returning subscriber, as always, welcome back home. I hope that you are doing fine wherever you are. I'm fine, and I thought of let me have this conversation, and especially with single parents and those who intend to get into marriage. There's someone who asked me to talk about blended families. So we are going to start by defining what a blended family is. So there are so many definitions or so many understanding of what a blended family is. So from my own perspective, a blended family is a family where we have two people coming together to start a family. And these two people both have children from previous relationships, or if you want, from previous marriages. So remember, most of the blended families usually begin by where two sides come together and they have children that they got with other people. That is how a blended family begins. And then later on, if you are in agreement, you can add children that now belong to the two of you. So that is how a blended family is. And that means that when it comes to a blended family, the situation is very tricky. And I say it is tricky because we have not two partners coming together, but rather the whole family has four people. So why am I talking about four people? There are four people in the sense that, remember, when you get into a blended family, most of the time you are coming with your own children, another person is coming with their own children. And therefore, these children also have their fathers or mothers. So it is kinda a tricky situation, and it is up to those who intend to get to a blended family to ensure that it works, because it's very, very hard. And therefore, I'd like to advise those who are thinking of getting into a blended family to consider the following points. And if you have other points, you can add so that the discussion can become lively. So the first point that I want to talk about is, first, ensure that you have established a relationship between the two of you. And this relationship must be very strong. Remember, it is not only the two of you, but there are four people here. So if the bond is not strong, it will be very hard for any couple that intends to get into a blended family for the marriage to work. Because this marriage does not just involve the two of you. It involves these other people. And therefore, the first thing that you should strive for is to ensure that you create a very strong bond, a bond that is very solid. A solid bond that cannot be shaken by anyone. And the reason is because you are not two. You are more than two. So after establishing your relationship, and after deciding that this is the person that probably you want to get into marriage with, ensure that you involve your partners. Remember, I started by saying that most blended families begin with two people coming together and they have children that they got with other people. So bring into picture these other partners that maybe you divorced, separated, or whatever happened. Bring them into picture so that they know you are moving into that kind of relationship. Because most of the time, you'll find that this other parent will want to interfere with your relationship. And that is why it is wise. Like at the start of everything, put everything on the table. Let them know you are getting into marriage. And because you have children, then they need to understand that their children, who also are your children, are going to be taken care by another person. That is going to save you a lot of heartache. It's going to save you, a lot of challenges, because they know, they are aware of. Let them be aware of, so that they don't come in complaining, bringing in a lot of friction. And especially when it comes to blended family, statistics show that most people that always bring a lot of challenges are women who do not allow men to move on. So most of the time they are going to poke their noses into this family. And that is why it is wise, if you're getting into a blended family, you ensure that your ex-partner is aware, so that they don't bring in a lot of friction. And then the other thing that is very important, as you get into this blended family, or you think of getting into this blended family, you should be very clear with the boundaries that you need to set, and especially with your ex, so that they don't interfere. Because most people, you'll find that sometimes you may think that people have moved on, but they have not moved on. They feel bad when you're moving on. They feel like, you've moved on very quickly. Or even sometimes they kind of did not, just release you in a good way. And therefore, if you do not set boundaries, they are going to interfere. Maybe come up with clear boundaries. Like, for example, if they want to take children, maybe to spend a weekend with, come up with a plan. This is how it should be done. Like, they cannot just pop in and out of your home as they feel. Because remember, you'll be having another person in the picture. You can imagine if you're just getting into a blended family. Every time, every now and then, this ex-partner is always there in your house in the name of getting children and all that. It is going to bring a lot of friction. And because what we are doing, we want to avoid the friction, what you should do is ensure that the boundaries are well set. And let your ex understand that your home is a place where they need to respect. They need to respect your partner. They need to understand that you've moved on. And therefore, they should be very careful on how they interact with your partner, and also the boundaries that you've set. Don't allow them to cross, because if they do that, it's going to bring a lot of challenges. Blended families are very good, but they need very sober people for it to work, because it is not all about the two. It is all about 4 people plus the children that are brought, into the marriage. The other thing that is very important when it comes to blended families are the children. So remember, you are coming with your children. He's coming with his children. And remember, these are not your biological children. And that means that these two group of children, let me say that we can have children, let's call them group A and group B. They need to bond. So dear parents, and especially the single parents, if you think you want to get into a blended family, don't think that it is going to be very, very automatic. It won't. Because apart from just facing challenges from your exes, your children can resist your partner. They can, and there's nothing that you're going to do if you're not careful. And if you let your emotions get good of you, then you're going to hurt your children. So sometimes children are not going to give you the peace that you need. You may think that it is so easy for them to, to bond, and even to bond with their stepmother or stepfather, but it is not automatic. And especially where teenagers are, they're going to question you. Some are going to refuse to move in with these new parents. There are those that are going to be very disrespectful to the new parents that have just come in. And therefore, what can you do? Because you want to try marriage. You need to get into this blended family. What can you do? I watched an interview where someone was talking about blended family. And this is what they said about children. For these two people that are coming together, the first thing that you should do, don't force your children to call your partner maybe mom or dad. Let it come out naturally. Don't force. And there's an expert who says that what you can do, you can try by telling your children to call your partner maybe an auntie or an uncle. And as they bond, they'll eventually start calling your partner mom or dad. But it can't be automatic. Just imagine today children that are very, that are very aware of what is happening. Maybe these are grown-ups. They know you separated with their father or you divorced with their mother. And then today you just come in with a person and you're like, you must call this person dad or mom. My dear friend, it's not going to work. And because it is not going to work, then you need to just become sober. You need to be very patient, and especially where these children are involved. Be very, very patient. Allow them to process everything that is happening, because they are human beings and they need to process everything that is happening. They need to know what they are going to do, because it is not all about the two of you. Remember, the children are also involved. Allow them to process, and gradually they are going to accept, and move on. And with time, you'll be surprised. They'll start calling your partner mom, they'll call your partner dad, and the two set of children's, sorry, not children's, children, they'll end up blending. They'll blend. And once they blend, then you'll have succeeded as parents that are getting into a blended family. And the process is not automatic. It's not automatic. Sometimes it can be 1 year, it can take even 10 years. So, what do you need? You need to be very, very patient. Very patient. Just allow them to process, allow them to move on because they are part and parcel of this. Finally, let's talk about relatives. And especially where your partner was so much loved by your relatives. You should be very careful when you are introducing a new partner who is coming in to join your family. And remember, you're talking about the blended family. Sometimes we have these ex-wives or husbands that were the favorites of your family. So you need to make your family understand that you've moved on. There's a new person into the picture. In fact, you need to make them to respect the new partner. Because if they don't do that, problems are going to arise. Don't ever make a mistake of allowing your relatives to overstep into your marriage. Comparisons are going to kick in. And this is the time you'll hear people saying that, your ex was better than this lady or this man that you've brought. That person was better. He was the best dad. And once you start getting those frictions from relatives, on the other hand, you have children that are kind of resisting, you may end up becoming more frustrated than you were. So please, dear parents, blended families do work. They do work. But what I know, from what I've seen, I have very good friends of mine that are in blended families. What I've seen through other people's experience, blended families do work. The only thing is that it needs a lot of work. And the key word when it comes to blended family is patience. Patience. Be as patient as you can. If you've never been patient, be patient. Allow everyone to digest, to process the new changes that are taking place. And if you just allow everyone to go through the process, it will be easy. After some years, you'll find that you are in a family that is working, you are happy, and you just have that perfect family that you've ever dreamt of. Don't force. Let the process be. So my dear single parents, those who think of getting into a blended family, what do you think? I'd love to hear your feedback in the comment section. And if you are in a blended family, please tell us how is it working? What other tips can we add to the list? Let us learn together. Let us grow together. Thank you and goodbye.